Hey, what's up guys? Adnan here and welcome to the channel. So in this video, I wanted to take some time to build on an idea that I guess briefly touched on in my previous video where I introduced this book called Strategy: A History by Lawrence Friedman. So in that book, as discussed, there were two key takeaways that really jumped out at me. And the second one is something that I want to delve more into. And that idea specifically is about building coalitions, tapping into networks, building alliances to kind of get you from where you are to where you want to be. But for those of you who might be viewing this for the first time and aren't familiar with the idea yet, I'll reiterate. In the book, the author points out the fact, and actually he emphasizes it quite strongly, that alliance building and coalition building have actually been critical to humanity's success. And it's one of those things that actually separates humans from all the species on this planet. And I think many of us would readily agree with this as well, right? Consensus building and teamwork are the foundation of success. The lone wolf approach, the siloed approach, working in isolation, it doesn't really help anyone at the end of the day. And by citing multiple examples throughout history covering kings, princes, commanders, generals, even modern day business leaders, the author effectively illustrates how this concept, this idea, this mindset has helped that specific figure accomplish their endeavors and what they initially had set out to do. And I can attest to this firsthand as well in the workplace where people have these fantastic ideas, and I've been guilty of this myself as well. I'm including myself in that group. But you have people who come up with these fantastic, dynamic, out-of-the-box ideas, but what they fail to understand and what they fail to accomplish is that they don't secure the buy-in needed to bring those ideas to fruition. They don't get the buy-in from their managers, from their senior leadership, from their team. They don't do a good job of building that level of trust, fostering a collective and shared sense of purpose, fostering consensus, really advocating for themselves and showing not only how that idea would benefit the team but also the company as a whole. And at the end of the day, no matter where you're working, no matter which market you're working in, no matter which industry you're working in, and to a large extent, no matter what the nature of your role might be, you need a strong team of people, or you need people who strongly believe in you to help you accomplish your objectives. Especially more so at a time like right now where we're living in a highly, trade-centric, interconnected, interdependent, globalized economy. So a high-level example of this at play would be, why does a multinational team up with a local firm when they're entering a new market? Of course, some markets mandate that legally any foreign player is required to partner with a local firm in order to operate within their territory. But putting that aside, there are other concerns as well. For example, the local firm that you're partnering with might have more access to local resources and talent that you might not have. They might have more insights on the local market and trends and demands that you might not really have full visibility into. The local firm might also have a certain level of a certain level of sway or pull with the local authorities, if you will, and sometimes that's needed to get things done. That's not ideal, obviously, but unfortunately, that's how a lot of markets and a lot of companies and a lot of governments operate around the world. The local firm might also even actually add value and excel in an area that maybe your much larger multinational company doesn't really. So that could be technology, it could be manufacturing processes, it could be a whole host of other things. And while there are obviously exceptions around the world to this, we have largely seen in hindsight that those kind of tie-ups, those kind of partnerships, those kind of alliances really are a win-win for both parties and they really pay off. But I think another notable example that really illustrates this point at play, and which many of you out there might already be familiar with, is the presidential election in the United States. The Biden-Harris campaign is considered at this point by many to be the most diverse coalition in US electoral history. People talk a lot about the Obama coalition, and as someone who was there on election night in 2008 and has vivid memories of his first election and subsequent re-election, yes, it was amazing, it was diverse, but if you just look at the sheer number of players that Joe Biden brought together for his campaign, people who many of them were at odds with each other. Many of them probably couldn't even be in the same room with each other. Many of them had diverging interests, but they were so unified and they kind of ended up sharing that common sense of purpose that they just put everything aside and they came together for this one campaign. So you have the Biden-Harris media machine, but at the same time you also have campaign friends, allies and surrogates like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg, Beto O'Rourke, who are going out there campaigning for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, doing media appearances for them. You had former President Barack Obama campaigning for Joe Biden in the last few weeks of the election. You had celebrities like Lady Gaga actively campaigning with Joe Biden in Pennsylvania. You had singers like Dua Lipa and Cardi B doing live chats with Bernie Sanders, talking about the election, talking about the issues at stake, talking about the voters, talking about the Electoral College. Another example is Eva Longoria, who was trying to get out the Latino vote. In Arizona, Cindy McCain, a longtime, family friend of Joe Biden and the wife of late Senator John McCain, she actively came out and endorsed Joe Biden, did media appearances on his behalf. You had former Republican Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona as well, endorsing Joe Biden, cutting ads for him. You also saw the involvement of another significant player in the form of the Lincoln Project, which is basically this group of disaffected Republicans who weren't happy with the way the GOP was heading and the way the party was conducting its business, so to speak. And now in hindsight, we've seen what the outcome is. We've seen the results of that unprecedented partnership, that coalition that kind of galvanized itself and its, respective bases of support to kind of come together around the common vision. Where we are though right now with the current state of affairs is something I won't get into. That's another topic for another day. But yeah, long story short, never downplay the value of relationships, the value of strategic partnerships, the value of building up diverse coalitions. And if you're someone who's looking for, that next step up in the corporate ladder, looking to give yourself that additional boost in your career, in your profession, this is a vital lesson that I cannot emphasize enough. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below. As always, please like, share, subscribe to our channel, and Tanz and I will speak to you very soon.